like everyone who read that check-in with Woj last week, I thought it was an excellent read. How was the response to that piece? Were you surprised by the response, or was it what you expected?
It was pretty big, and I wasn't all that surprised.
Yeah.
I think that there's always a fascination with sports media figures, and Adrian is one of the biggest ever, right? Given his platform and what he did with that platform. And I still think there were some outstanding questions about why he decided to walk away from ESPN. And I think in that piece, we kind of answered a lot of them, whether it was the, expanding on, why he felt kind of ground down from years of covering the NBA and the way that he did, to the health issues that I articulated there, to, just, what his life is like and what it means for him to be at St. Bonaventure. I mean, the way the story began with him, in that apartment above a bar is really remarkable. He has come complete full circle and is now, living above the old bar he used to go to, with, not roommates necessarily, but people who live next door that are athletes on the respective teams. It really is a full circle moment for him.
Yeah, that $1,500 apartment. The fact that he's living in a $1,500 apartment, I think, might have been the most shocking thing in that piece to me. Like, at first, I would have thought that this was a job that when he initially took it, that it would have been something that maybe he tried to do remotely. But if he's not going to do it remotely, I certainly wouldn't have guessed that $1,500 apartment. And I'm a big proponent of not living above your means, but we all know Woj can comfortably afford something a little bit more lavish. Did you see
I
the
don't know.
apartment?
I don't know what. Oh, I saw it. Yeah, I spent a little bit of time up there. He's got the outdated microwave. He's got the appliances that aren't new. On his wall is a St. Bonaventure flag, like everything you and I probably had in our college dorms.
Yeah.
It's there. It looks like a typical college apartment. Like the furniture looks. I don't think it is IKEA, but it looks IKEA. And it's very sparsely overall furnished. In the video that we did, we kind of took people on a tour of the apartment, and one of the seats at his table is a booth that was lifted from the bar downstairs. So he's got it's every bit the college apartment that you would expect, and it's just exactly what he wants. Like, he wants to be within close proximity to to the students, to the campus, to everything that's going on at St. Bonaventure. It's definitely not a remote job. He's at every single home game, and a lot of days in between when he's not at home games, he's on the road, scouting, junior college kids and high school kids, and even going over to Europe to look at some prospects that might be in kind of that St. Bonaventure range. So, he's thrown himself in with both feet into this new job.
I know you wrote that you're friends with Woj. Did you learn a lot about him when writing this piece? Like, did you already know about the $1,500 apartment, the health issues, the Kamala Harris's campaign wanting him to break her VP pick, or did you learn a lot of that stuff when writing this?
I would say I knew most of it. I didn't know really the depths of it, right? Like, just how, like, for example, the workload. Like, over the last couple of years, as his friend and someone that works in the business with him, like, I knew it was starting to wear him down some.
Yeah.
I knew there was going to be an expiration date on his career that was not going to be 10 years into the future. I didn't know it was going to be this quickly, and I didn't really know just how much it was starting to wear on him. Just missing out on all the kind of family things you have to miss out on to do that job. I mean, just the day-to-day stuff, some of the stuff that I wrote about, kind of, just a family movie night. You've got to leave to break like Evan Mobley's contract extension. Like, it's just these little things just started to kind of pile up. And eventually just kind of broke him down. The health stuff, I knew about it. I didn't know all the details about it. And I tried to get as many of them out there as humanly possible. So, I didn't know the extent of his health concerns, but most of the stuff I did know. The Kamala Harris thing was interesting. Like, we did the whole reporting of the story over like 3 days up in Olean. And, over the course of the next week, I'd call him and fact check a whole bunch of different things and make sure I get this right, that right. And during one fact check session, he's like, I just thought of something. He gave me the Kamala Harris thing. Like, the story was effectively written. Like, I had already done like 3,000 words in the story. He's like, I got this note from Kamala Harris or from one of her people, and they want me to break the story. I didn't put this in the story, but he actually, because he didn't know it was going to be Tim Walz, right? Like, they wouldn't tell him who the VP pick was. So what he did was create 3 graphics that, breaking news, breaking from Woj, the typical ESPN stuff you see up there, 3 graphics with the 3 front runners for it.
Yeah.
Mark Kelly was on that list. Tim Walz was on that list. And Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania was on that list. So we had 3. He sent me the graphics. I have them on my phone. Like, he has 3 ready to go for when he was going to get the information and was allowed to tweet about it. But somebody, I think it was CNN, somebody broke it before he could get there.
How willing was he to take part in this profile? Like, did you have to convince him, or was he eager to open up and talk as much as he did?
Yeah, I didn't have to convince him at all, really. After he announced his retirement, I texted him and said, hey, man, all the best, all the stuff, normal things friends would do, colleagues would do. Then I gave it a few weeks to kind of settle. I'd been talking to my editors at SI about this story. I'm like, this is a good one. This will generate interest. I'm going to give it some breathing room, and then I'm going to go back to him. And I did go back to him a few weeks later, and he was quick to respond with yes. I know he had some interest from other people to do something similar, but I think our relationship helped with that. Obviously, I worked with him for a couple of years at Yahoo when he launched the vertical, and we've known each other for the better part of the last 20 years. So I think that certainly helped move this thing along. But once we started talking, there was nothing off limits. There was nothing he didn't want to talk about. At various times when discussing his health, he did get emotional talking about it, because even though it is, something that, as he says, he'll be fine. He's got control over. It's not something that would be deemed life-threatening at the moment. It's not something he's even getting treatment for at the moment. It's still cancer, and it's still something in your body that you didn't know about before. And as I wrote in the story, like, the doctor that he went to said, you can have surgery, but the only reason to have surgery now is if mentally you cannot handle the idea of having cancer in your body. And I'm sure a lot of people have that feeling. I might have that feeling. Even if I knew there was nothing that was going to change physically, I might want to say, get it out of me, no matter what. So there were various times he got emotional, talking about that, but talking to him, spent some time talking to his wife, Amy, as well. It was definitely hard to talk about at times, but he was always open about everything that was going on.